Denim is in demand at Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston. Get cash on the spot for everything denim. Bring in your trendy and classic styles of gently used name brand denim. Get paid for your denim shorts, skirts, jackets, jeans, and more. We're looking for denim that is blue, black, or a bold color, and jeans in styles like mom jeans, bootcut, baggy, flared, and ripped. We want everything denim. Sell your denim for cash at Plato's Closet today. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
Hashtag no music, no intro, no tackles, no receivers, no AK, just no Taysom, just depleted, bro. I haven't even looked at the injury report. Like, I took a gander on Twitter, and I was just like, oh, okay. I see where we are. I see where things are. But joining us on the hashtag Singster podcast, I think you were probably at this point the person who's been on the podcast the most. This is maybe your fourth appearance, maybe your fifth. Mr. Gregg Rosenthal, NFL Network, NFL.com himself, a fixture of the Around the NFL podcast, RJV. Like, it's too much, bro. Like, you're so spread thin, and yet you find time to come on.
And yet I'm coming on this, after TNF late night. We got a couple TV shows tomorrow, but it's just like I just can't help myself. Eagles Saints, this is my shit. This is my type of game right here.
So you didn't do the post pod?
No, I didn't have it tonight.
Does it rotate?
Yeah, we rotate around. Mark got to, talk some ish on your Falcons, your favorite team there. Patriots put it on them.
Can I just get a simple thank you, Greg? Or like, you were right. Like, I remember how you were after the draft, man. You texted me, you weren't excited about Mac, and I was like, bro, you're good. Like Mac is going to be Kirk Cousins-ish, or maybe a little better. And if you can draft that at 15, you're good. And I know it took you a while to get into the Mac experience, and now look, he might be. I'm not saying he's going to be, but he's at least the best rookie quarterback in the draft so far this season. You're welcome.
You're right. You were right. I was like still stuck on Cam. I was like, I want Cam and Belichick to stick it to everyone.
Just sorrel tendencies just outpouring.
No, that wasn't it. It was that Patriots fans put everything that was wrong last year on Cam. I love Cam as a player. And it wasn't fair. And I was like, I want Cam to take them to like deep into the playoffs, because that'll actually bother Patriots fans. It'll be like the ultimate victory. Even Patriots fans, obnoxious Patriots fans, couldn't enjoy it. Instead, we got Mac Jones, who's just like, the only unathletic first round quarterback, and I don't know how long. And yet he's a baller. I love watching him, I got to admit.
No, man, he's just good, man. I was texting Adam last week. I was just like, it's just rare. It's sometimes rare, but it's just funny when players just are who they are. Like, you watch them in college, and it's just like, it's Mac Jones. It's just Mac Jones. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, it's just like he's just everything you think he would be. It doesn't go that way all the time, but that's just who he is. And I was listening to Ross Tucker's podcast today. He had Greg. I only listen when he has Greg Cosell on, and they were just talking about how the infatuation with the quarterbacks, with the second reaction.
Second reaction. We talked about it on the recap show, bro.
Yeah. It's just like this infatuation with the draft. Like, we got to get some quarterback that can make those second reaction plays. Like Patrick Mahomes and all that, which I get. Like, I love that. But they brought up a point like, what about the quarterbacks where you don't need a second reaction? Like, just make the right decision on the first one. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those guys still exist and still can thrive in the NFL. And I think Mac Jones might be that guy.
Right now. They're very undervalued.
Yeah, man. He someone called him like Philip Rivers, but without a dysfunctional organization around him. And I was like, ooh, I like that. I like the feel of that for the next while. I just wanted that, I wanted a quarterback that could make some plays. It'd be fun to watch. But I'm loving it. him falling to 15 makes more sense than Christian Barmore falling to the second round. I mean, that dude, I watched like one game all year. It was a national championship, and Christian Barmore was the best player on the field. I don't know how he fell so far. He's a baller.
No, he is.
So we got to. I mean, I know people are already tuning out. Our listenership has plummeted over these last two Saints losses, which it's unfortunate because that's when Ryan and I shine the most. And the Saints have, I would hate to call it like a must-win game, but it's essentially a must-win game on Sunday if they want to be relevant in the playoff hunt. And I think Ryan and I approach this season much like, no expectations, enjoy it for what it is, enjoy the ride. It's kind of amazing that the Saints are 5-4 right now, considering everything that's kind of transpired with the teams, injuries, whatever, COVID, hurricanes, you name it, they've been through it. So it's amazing that they're 5-4, but they have a test against them to go to Philadelphia and get the win against the Eagles. And it's going to be, I think I'm interested to see, can Dennis Allen make adjustments in stopping Philadelphia's run game? Because when they played them last season, whatever they tried did not work. And Philadelphia is excelling at running the football right now.
Yeah, they got a quarterback in Hurts that, to me, is the best running quarterback I've seen, along with Lamar and Kyler, the last 5 or 6 years or whatever. Now he's a bigger guy, but he can make you miss too in the open field. And when he gets going downhill, he's just nasty. I mean, he's top 10 in rushing this year. I don't think people realize, like, among all players, not just quarterback. That's how wild. Good a runner he's been this year. And you know how that is. It reminds me of 2019 Ravens, where it just opens up the rest of the running game, where they have great guys up front, big guys. Mailata is huge. Lane Johnson's huge. Kelsey's, obviously been an all-pro. And it just opens it up. Now you got Boston Scott and Jordan Howard, who, Jordan Howard was barely in the NFL right now. And now he's popping off for 5 or 6 a run because of Jalen Hurts. But they've done it against some real soft run defenses. If you look who they played the last 3 weeks, Detroit, the Chargers, and the Broncos, 3 of the softest run defenses. And now you got the Saints, who are kind of the opposite of that.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how that matchup plays, because even last year, the Saints were playing well on run defense, but I know it's a different coach now, but, the Eagles were able to scheme up some key runs, try to get, they got the linebackers in some wrong gaps at a few times. And it was just the big play runs. And really, that's all you need is a couple big play runs that really just throws the Saints off kilter, especially with the Saints offense, which hadn't been able to put up points, especially early in games, which kind of just throws off everything they want to do, how they want to play, how they want to control the ball, how they want to protect the defense with snaps, how the defense wants to play as far as being able to rush the passer and pin the ears back. It just kind of throws off everything. So it's like the way the Saints approach it is like the game has to play out a certain way for it to work. And I think we saw the last 2 weeks where it didn't play out like that. So, and they were close. They could have won both games the last those 2 weeks. But it's just such a tightrope they're walking every game. Jesus.
You guys sound too down, though.
Yeah, I'm not down.
I know it's late and all, but you got it.
Yeah, the offense is like, oh, this offense is offense trash, Greg.
It's depressing. It's depressing, bro. And you said it when you guys did your guys' recap show. The way Sean Payton had 300 plus yards of offense with Traquan Smith, Mark Ingram, who's obviously an established player in the league. Finding Nemo, it's the bottom of the barrel right now.
Right, but they outplayed it. And I know the Titans are a weird team, but they outplayed the number 1 seed in the AFC. They were unlucky to lose that game. When you look at this Saints team, I'm into this Saints team. Saints are probably my second favorite team this year. I pick different teams, based on the year. And the Eagles are probably third. So but the Saints have like overachieved. They're like they should be better than 5-4. They've been a good team. Like if you look at their schedule, they've had a hard schedule. They're in every one of these games.
Every one of them. That's one thing, and I think that goes to the depth that they've developed over the years and just being a really well coached team. Like they're not like they haven't been blown out, anything like that. So, which is as a Saints fan, I think people are just like it's just like edge of your seat, like almost every game. It's like what's gonna happen?
No, I mean, I've actually enjoyed this season a lot. Like I told Adam, it's just like it's a fun season. But watching the games play out, especially when the offense is taking like 2 or 2.5 quarters to kind of get going, it's a struggle. And it's like, can someone please step up? And AK being out last week, just because you're at least able to say, well, at least we got Alvin Kamara to see what he does. But now without him, it's like you open Traquan, it's like
Kenny Stills,
Harris,
Kevin White. Come on, bro.
No, I love your Sunday night shows. I told Adam when I'm leaving work, because we tape after the Sunday night football game, when I'm leaving work on my ride home, I listen to you guys, and you shouldn't be all down, saying that your, listenership's down. That's bad news, because I'm telling you, your shows are better when they lose. You guys just cracking on them and laughing. I like that better.
Right, man. The listeners that listen know they always tell us like, hey, thank you for just making light of that because I was down or whatever. And that's the whole point, man. It's just a game. And it's actually funny, too. Like, just the whole situation when you just step back and just look at Saints had this, Hall of Fame quarterback for 15-plus years. And now it's like, you got Jameis Winston. Now you got Trevor Siemian. And you got this really good defense, which you never had a good defense for years. But now you got this really good defense. It's just hilarious, man.
And it's more like the juxtaposition of, and Ryan brings this up all the time. It's just we're as fans, like a Sean Payton team was just known for offense, putting up points, explosive plays, and defense was always the problem. And it's just the exact opposite. And so, but I will say, just watching that Titans game, like you can't take away the egregious no call or the horrible rough and passer call, but like it was a good game to watch. Like that's a good game pass game. Like the physicality of it was top notch. But in regards to like this Philly game, the same problem I always think of is for the Saints team is just how they're gonna move the ball. Like like last week was a perfect example. That was my biggest concern in the Titans game, and for like the first time in forever, like Sean Payton came out and they had like a bit of like a hurried up offense, like kind of tempo to start their first drive. And, as Saints fans, we were just been asking that for years, because every time Drew Brees went no huddle, it was boom, 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 touchdown. So I wonder, it's just interesting to see how they're going to manufacture points and scores, because the margin is so slim. We have a kicker who's missing extra points that is causing game speed. Like it's just a wild ride all around. And there's like this drama with like Michael Thomas. They almost had Odell. It's one thing after another.
I hear you, but they're playing the Eagles. So you ask how they're going to move the ball. It's by playing the Eagles. This is where I'm going to bring my Eagles expertise into the mix. I mean, their fans have been they wish they had Sean Payton and as a resourceful a team as the Saints are. Are you kidding me? Like they haven't beaten anyone good this year. First of all, they were excited a couple weeks ago that they were competitive with the Chargers. So I know it feels like they're coming in with a big head of steam because they got a big win in Denver this week, but Denver is not a good team. This is a defense that plays as passively as any defense in the league. They just allow you to take 7-yard gains. And when I think about the Saints, I think like That's what Team Trev is all about. Those 7-yard games.
Baby.
On time, 7 yards. Let's do it, Trevor.
We're going to take that all day, which is funny because, the differences between Jameis and Trevor were interesting because it's like Trevor's much better at like the over the middle, 0 to 10 yards, 10 to 15 yard throws, where Jameis was like not as good there, but he was really good at like 20 plus, 30 plus. So it's kind of weird because you're kind of missing something either way. But then Jameis had the scramble ability and, what he was doing with his legs, which was great. But at the same time, Trevor does kind of bring a little, I don't know, I don't even want to call it consistency because he's been consistently moving the ball or putting the ball where it should be most of the time. But then you just look at the pass catches and it's like, okay, can they catch? Like they've had like 8 drop balls just over the past 2 weeks, and that could change either way. But I don't know, man.
But isn't that what Sean Payton's good at cooking up, at least right now, especially with maybe a less talented group, is like a short passing game that
this is bread and butter.
I'm just holding on to my priors that Trevor Siemian is worth a damn because I thought he was pretty good with the Broncos.
Me too.
Back in 2016, and then it really went off a cliff. His second year starting, I actually went back and like looked at what I wrote about it. The second year starting, it was terrible. But I thought he was pretty good and in these 2 starts, I kind of thought like, I don't know, right? If he played like this the rest of the season, he's not a downgrade from Jameis. Or from Teddy a couple of years ago, or Taysom. He might be right there with them, above
him.
It's
funny you say that because we have a Discord for all our Patreon people, and that was literally like one of our, I think his name is Luke, asked, is Trevor Siemian our Ryan Tannehill? And like,
this is getting desperate out here in these streets. That's too much even for me.
But just in the thinking of, I guess the philosophical question is, if you could take the team with Trevor and let's say fast forward to the offseason and try to add weapons, whether that be draft, free agency, what have you, is that a wiser team building approach as opposed to maybe giving up 2 to 3 first round picks for an elite quarterback, and then you don't have the draft capital to get skill position players? It was just an interesting, just football type of discussion of like, would you rather? And I was like, I don't know. So I figured since you're on the show, ask you.
Well, Tannehill, first of all, that's a bad comparison because it's like that man is athletic. That man, he was great as a rookie. I would say for a rookie, he put up about 40 very solid starts before he got out of that Gase situation. Trevor's got to have about 8 more games, and let's see how if you think he's the next Tannehill after that. That's what I'm worried about is like, can he keep this going? Because he was not consistent in Denver. He would have a couple 2-3 game stretches, and then things would go a little sideways. I think this is a better situation in terms of his coaches, at least, and he's older. But no, I think the best case scenario for Trevor is that you just got like a cheap ass Teddy, and that's just good to have there. And then you build off of that. Okay, you got one guy that can play a little bit, and you still do whatever you can to go get a rookie or to get a veteran. But if you can't, then maybe you don't have to settle for the mid-tier, I don't really want to sign this guy anyways, but I'm just going to give him $20 million. You don't need to do that because you got Siemian, and he's that role. He's that 1B role. I think that's a best-case scenario probably.
Yeah, I agree. And, players like Tannehill, at least they had that pedigree where you knew there is some kind of upside where, with Trevor, it's kind of like he is who he is. Even at best, this is probably the best it's going to be. It's like,
he's not that old or anything like that.
No, he's not. And he's made some throws, man. There's like 2 or 3 throws a game where I'm like, that's a nice throw.
Teddy's not a bad comparison because I think their strengths are similar in terms of Teddy can throw a pretty pass. Just the upside with Teddy was probably like, about what you're seeing in Denver here this year. He's quietly having a nice season. Like if you could get that out of Trevor Siemian, I mean, that's a bargain because you're not paying him anything and you won't have to pay him much to re-sign him. That's great. But talk to me and let's see in a couple months. I think this team's going to the playoffs. I like them a lot this week, but you broke the news to me that the tackles are out. I didn't realize that out of practice.
Well, I don't know if they're out, but they didn't practice yesterday. They didn't practice today.
No, I saw that now.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. Plus AK. Plus Taysom.
Already bad.
It's poverty, really it is. But then it's really this upcoming 3-game stretch because you got the Eagles Sunday, then the Saints play the Bills on Thanksgiving, then they play Dallas the following Thursday on the next week. So it's 3 games in 11 days. That's a brutal stretch right there, boy.
You got to get this one. You really got to get this
one.
They
really got to win this Eagles game because
you're probably not getting you're probably not winning one of the other two. You could, but get this one, lose the next two.
Knowing this team, they will lose on Sunday and then beat the Bills and Cowboys.
That's usually how it works.
I think I might take that Sunday night one for the recap show for our podcast. That's good. That's a nice Thanksgiving night, Saints Bills. I like that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I don't know. Are they playing at home or in New York?
It's at home. That's the Drew Brees game, bro.
Oh yeah, Drew Brees is gonna be there. Oh my goodness, that's what's gonna happen. Drew Brees is gonna be covering that game, and he's not really good at it. He's not good at it, and plus, when he's talking about the Saints, he can't turn his emotions off. So it's weird, because he has fan reactions.
He's okay on NBC, but when they had him on the Manning cast, watching Jameis try to do a fourth quarter drive in Seattle,
he was disgusted.
But he wouldn't say it though, so it was a bad contrast. You could tell he was disgusted, but he was biting his tongue, which was a bad combo.
I mean, he still says "we" when he talks about the Saints. We're pretty good on third down. It's
love it. I love it.
I mean, he's probably still getting some sort of paycheck from them, so say we.
He's gonna be on that salary cap, baby, for a while.
He's got to get that money back from all those other endeavors.
Yahoo Finance. I will say this in terms of football matchups. I want to see the Marshawn on Devontae Smith matchup just from pure football porn aspect. I think that's going to be a great matchup to watch on Sunday.
I mean, he's no Marcus Johnson, but
I'm about to say I don't like it. I think Smith to give it to Marshawn. I'm serious. Just the way he runs routes and stuff. I don't know. I don't like that matchup. I like it as a fun football matchup, but
right
as a Saints fan,
why don't they do the Belichick thing? They didn't. Gilmore never went against the top guy. Neither did Revis. They put him on number 2 and double the top guy. That's the move.
Right.
Do that.
That's the move. I don't know. It's ego. I don't know what it is, but Marshawn, he wants to play this press man, every snap, and that's fine. He's really good at it, but depending on who you're going against, you just don't do it. You just don't do it.
Smith is nasty. He's getting better every week.
He is, man.
He's he's the strongest 170-pound player I've ever seen.
It's insane because I loved him as a player, but that weight, I was like,
right.
I don't know.
He plays more physical than plenty of guys.
The catch he made on Patrick Surtain II was unreal. Unreal.
But I love to see that. I love to see that because, that literally was the only knock on him. It's 170 pounds. Oh my God. So I'm just happy to see that he's a good player. Fuck all that shit. You know what I'm saying? He's good.
I am fascinated to see this game though, because they're two such interesting teams. I feel like the Saints are a playoff team, but if they don't win this game, it's maybe the Eagles are a playoff team. But Hurts, I've watched him so closely. He's so streaky. He's inconsistent as a passer, and his good moments are almost all against bad defenses. And I do have some faith here in my guy Marcus Davenport to create some havoc up front. I mean, can you admit you were wrong about Davenport at least?
No, we weren't wrong at all.
No, bro.
Wasn't wrong at all. Our problem has always been availability and consistency. That's all it's been, man. I told him, I literally added him on Twitter. I will call you Davenport once you show me some consistency and production. That's it, man.
I would block you for that.
You should block me.
I mean, listen, Who First, a.k.a. Peyton Turner's mom, is probably listening to this podcast right now. So you never know who's listening to the hashtag 6 for the podcast, Greg. It's just it's hot in these streets. Players, moms, listen.
He's been good though.
You want consistency? He's doing something every single game.
Every single game.
If they had fallen on that ball against the Falcons, he would have been the hero. Seriously,
he would have been Marcus Davenport henceforth forever.
Plus, like if I feel like that sack where he just walked Kendall Lamb back, you should get a point for that. That's why I love Davenport is that play. I just love guys who just throw the guy in front of them around and make him just look like clown him. That's amazing.
And he really does have that ability. He's just a gorilla.
And I think this year has shown that I don't know what the numbers are going to be, but if you asked me this before the season, I didn't think there was a chance. But now, I feel like they have to somehow, when that 5th-year option is up, figure out some type of contract extension because he's the best pass rusher on the defensive line right now, and it's not even remotely close.
Well, he'll get paid if it's not by the Saints. Yeah. What, he's under contract next year, though, right?
Yeah. He has his 5th-year option next year. So
yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's a perfect player. You don't need to sign that extension until, I wouldn't hurry that.
Right.
Watch him stay healthy. And
just see how it plays out.
See how it goes.
See if he can finish that damn season.
If he balls out on that 5th year, it's okay, we'll try to sign you then, or we'll tag you, something like that. That's a long way.
Has this NFL season felt super long to you, or is it just me and Ryan?
No, I don't think it's felt that long. It felt any longer than normal.
It's long, man. I look at the schedule. I'm like, damn, it got that many games, bro.
It's long, bro.
It started a little late. Well, now it's because it's you guys have to work.
That's true, bro. That's true.
You got to do it on Sunday nights. I was gonna say, are you doing a Thanksgiving night show?
Yeah,
bro.
Damn. Well, that's why. Now you're working. It's a job a little bit. People want their podcast.
What is, we keep this nice and short. It's almost 11 p.m. where Ryan is. It's almost 9 p.m. where we are. But I did want to ask you, now that's the midway point of the season, what are some things, teams that surprise you, players, just things in general that has surprised you, good or bad, thus far this season?
I mean, the Cardinals being probably the cleanest answer for who's the best team in the NFL. I mean, that's a pretty damn big surprise. They've outscored their opponents by 98 on the road in 5 games this year. And those opponents, and here's who they played though. That's amazing. But here's who they played. They played the Rams, they played the Niners, they played the Titans, they played the Jaguars. I'm forgetting who the 5th one is, but it's another good team. They have beaten down great teams repeatedly on the road, and they've done it in every way possible. I'm just kind of throwing out the non-Kyler Murray games. I don't care about that game, but Browns were the other team they trashed on the road. I don't know. They seem like they could win the Super Bowl, and I was not thinking that coming into the year.
Do you have an opinion? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I remember when we we think we did like a preview right before the season started, and we just talked about how just their configuration of the team, like signing AJ Green, signing JJ Watt,
right,
drafting another player like Davian Collins and not knowing where to play him, and just us kind of being like, here we go again type of thing. And so, yeah, they are for sure surprised in terms of where they are right now.
They get after it defensively too. And I mean, Watt was playing pretty good before he got injured. I mean, maybe they won't have staying power. Maybe it'll be like a first half story, but it doesn't feel fluky. There's nothing when Kyler's out there, he just unlocks their offense, and they're just so hard to defend.
Yeah, then you got Tom Brady, 44, 43 years old, still cooking it up. Feel like they're kind of at that midpoint of the season where they kind of hold. I mean, it's real similar to last season. So I expect them to really start, cooking it up as the season goes along. The Bucks. And other than that, do you have an opinion on Baker Mayfield and the Browns? It's something I'm just keeping track of, and I just find it so interesting because you got this team that hadn't had a quarterback for so long. They finally, they drafted a guy number 1 overall. He's the quarterback through, one of the best few seasons they've had in, decades or whatever. But there's still this question around Baker. It's like, is he? You watch some games and it's like, I don't know. But then he does a few things every now and then where it's like, okay, Baker could cook. Then you got to pay him. It's like, when you pay him, $35 million a year, whatever. It's like, I don't know, man. I'm worried about Mark. I'm worried about my Mark, bro.
I feel like we do know, though. Like, everyone keeps saying that. It's like they're in the toughest position because he's like right in the middle where you're not really sure. And I'm like, if after 4 years you're not really sure, then
that tells you
that's your answer.
Boom.
Like the Patriots last week, it was really interesting. After the first drive where they got run all over, they kept their heavy personnel on the whole rest of the game. And they didn't care if it was like 3rd and 9.
Wow.
They were like, we're just going to leave Van Noy
like in base?
Hightower. Right. They just decided to play the whole rest of the game in base. And they were just crazy. Like, beat us, Baker. Like, beat us on the outside. We don't think you can do it. And he could.
That's disrespectful.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. You hear some QB gurus who just say Baker can't see it over the middle. That it's just like, I don't know if it's his height or is just he's slow seeing things, but he just doesn't see it.
So then, the football question is, what do you do? If you're the Browns, right? You're GM of the Browns, and you have to make a decision. Do you pull something kind of similar? We just spoke about the Cardinals. It's a completely different situation, but the Cardinals realize Josh Rosen ain't that guy, and a lot of that was Cliff Kingsbury. And I know NFL Twitter loved this shit on Cliff before the season, but even if he would have gotten fired after this season, if it didn't go well, at least he had the gusto to go against the NFL grain and say, Josh ain't that guy. Kyler's that guy. And it's worked out, right? So I think there's this, I don't know, gun shyness still in the NFL, not pulling the cord on quarterbacks. And so do the Browns go, you know what, Baker ain't that guy. We need something better and approve upon that. And then in the interim, who's going to be it's just a super fascinating football question and discussion.
Right. It is, but I would just go the Kirk Cousins approach for now, but kind of keep your eyes and your ears open to a possible trade, because Baker could get you something in that trade. You're not bringing in a rookie, a good quarterback, or a veteran if Baker's there, but maybe Baker can get you something as part of a bigger trade. But he's under contract next year. I mean, I'm not giving him I said that going into this year. I was like, they don't need to be. If he's not making an issue of it, they should not be rushing. Just like, let's see how this year goes and then see. And now it's like, now let's just see how next year goes and see. But if this offseason, Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers is out there and you can get into those conversations, I mean, I try to do that. At least you have a quarterback you can give someone.
You know who loved Baker pre-draft.
Right.
Just saying. That wouldn't, like, Sean loved Baker pre-draft. Just loved him.
Right. Like if you were the Saints, you would take Baker.
I absolutely would not. Don't you dare say that to me.
I'm trying to get Matt Ryan. Shit.
Bro, could you imagine?
I'm serious.
Honestly,
bro.
if you put Matt Ryan on this Saints team, they're going to win a playoff game.
That's what I'm saying.
Could potentially maybe fuck up and win like a divisional game and then probably not get past that, but absolutely.
Yeah. I'm saying they'll go 11-6. He's throwing pretty well when he's protected this year. That line is.
We saw it, Greg.
Right. Yeah, you saw it. His good games have been so good that you're like, okay, he's got it if you got some things going with him. You'd go 11-6. You'd beat some trash team in the wild card round. Actually, the NFC is pretty deep. You'd win a wild card, though, and then you'd lose.
Yeah. That's about right. That'll be enough for me, though.
That'd be amazing. It would piss Falcons fans off so much. Can I address that? So Dan on the show, I think it was maybe the recap show. I don't know. Called out the Saints sort of podcast a little bit. Your guys, referring to Gregg's guys. 28-3 jokes. Like, can we just put a ceasefire on that? It's getting kind of old. Like Ryan and I ourselves are like bookkeepers of Saints Twitter, just gatekeepers of everything that Saints fans put out. So we don't have fancy music to declare anything on the pod because we're good. Wow. But I will say it's not going to stop. Period. Like it's just not. And that's coming from someone who doesn't even make 28-3 jokes. I don't even make them.
I think I said it too. I mean, I said like, yeah, let's just
probably.
It's been long enough. But hey, I'm a Patriots fan. It's no better. I mean, Patriots fans are worse. They're not even funny about it. At least Saints fans are funny. Like one of the guys who runs our newsroom today was wearing one of those 28-3 shirts because it was a Patriots Falcons day. And it's like, what do you have to, why do you got to be kicking them when they're down? And please, you're not declaring vengeance, Adam. I mean, you should be sending, paychecks for all this free pop, this Saints Twitter podcast. You guys might as well be a sponsor of our podcast. You get mentioned so much.
I didn't like the tone, Greg. I didn't like the tone.
I don't even remember. Okay.
They ain't got his little shots. It's all good though.
And just, I can't.
Is it because we've had Mark Sessler and Greg on, and we've never even tried to ask
Mark Sessler, Greg, Kevin Patra, Cynthia Freeland, Patrick Claybon. Okay. Let me stop.
Dang.
I'm going to listen to the preview pod tomorrow when I'm driving to Texas. Take it all in. What's the biggest game that you're excited about this weekend?
For real, all week it was like Eagles Saints. I thought that was gonna.
You are a sick fuck.
It's a big game.
It's huge.
It's like Browns Pats last week. Like that was a big game. I'm more into like which games are going to tell me something about like the rest of this season and stuff. It's not as good as Cowboys Chiefs, obviously. I'm more excited about Cowboys Chiefs. That game's later. But this Saints Eagles game, like these teams are interesting to me. I really am curious because to me, if the Saints lose, I'll be surprised because I think at their core, the Eagles are are not a mentally strong team. When things have gone against them a little bit, they kind of collapse. They haven't been good in big moments. And to me, the Saints are so different. I think the Saints are so well coached and the Eagles aren't. And yet, like, the talent's not that different, obviously, and anything could happen. But like, if what I feel about this season is right, the Saints are going to win this game.
All right. You going to lock it up?
I thought about it, but I didn't want to put that stink on the Saints because that's what I'm rooting for. I'm on a losing streak. The answer, though, actually, Adam, when it came down to it and when we were doing the show, I had to take Cam versus Washington first, actually, because I just wanted to see that.
Although I will say this, right? I'm a Saints fan. I get they play in the NFC South. That moment he had against was thrilled for him, man. Just was.
Oh man! If I was a Panthers fan, I would have jumped out of my damn seat.
That's what I mean. I love watching Cam when he first came in with the Panthers, and for him to be going against Rivera in his first start.
Oh shit! Didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he's going against Rivera, and Rivera got fired. He's the best coach in Panthers history. Got fired 4 games into that season in 2019, or 5 games by David Tepper, who's the owner now, and it's Cam's first start, and it's just like. I want to watch that because that's like, I know it's not that big a game necessarily, but it's like, I'll remember that game, like the Cam versus Rivera game. And so I want to watch that one.
I do want to give you credit for something, Greg. And when you said it on the pod, I was like, oh my God, this is the fucking Patriots fucking fan coming out of Greg. But you said something, maybe it was last year, about how as fans, like, you can appreciate a season even if your team doesn't win the Super Bowl. Like, and like having like getting away from that being the end destination all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this season that the Saints are having is a perfect example of that. Like, and I it kind of hit me after the Tampa Bay game. And I said it after the recap. I said it on the recap show after the Tampa Bay game. Like, this is the pinnacle of the season. Like, this is the top 5 Sean Payton win and his coach, like as a Saints coach, and this is going to be the pinnacle of the season. So this entire season has just been enjoyable, and I don't even care how well they do, like playoffs, whatever. But I really thought about what you said about you can have a great season as a fan even if your team doesn't win the Super Bowl, and so I want to just say on the pod, your perspective was correct.
Yes.
So it's a better way to live. Sports is driving so many people crazy, including myself. Like it's almost like that's what I'm trying to wish it into existence because it just drives you crazy, especially as you get older. It's like that Bill Parcells phrase where he says, "I have no more mental defenses against losing." As he got older, like he couldn't handle the losing. I can't handle.
Fuck, bro.
It's why Wes gave up the Bengals too. I mean, he hated that organization, but he was enjoying being a fan of like just football. And I am a Pats fan, but I try to just be a fan of football, which is more fun. It's like college football. Everyone's miserable except for Alabama. It's like that's no fun. That's not good.
No, you're right. You're right. One last thing before I let you go. We said on our NFL preview show we did with you, I brought up the whole thing with the Eagles and the Colts, and so now we're halfway through the season. Are the Colts going to really give up first round pick for Carson Wentz? Like, I mean, I know they're in the hunt because of the AFC South. Like,
it's too late. They won too many games. It's a best case scenario for the Eagles. I mean, you got Carson Wentz playing through like multiple sprained ankles and not missing any snaps, losing those games, but then staying in and playing well enough to beat the bad teams. They might make the playoffs. I think they might win 8 or 9 games. They're going to be in the mix.
Yuck. Anyway, great as always. We appreciate you so much. To our listeners, can you tell them how to find your multiple streams of income that you have coming into the Rosenthal household?
Well, the only one I get paid separately for like the ad money is the Rosenthal and Jesselnick Vanity Project. So that's the one I'm going to shout out here.
Plug it up.
Because it's funny. If you think these guys are funny, I think you'd like the same sense of humor as my buddy Anthony Jesselnick, comedian.
He's a professional comedian. A professional comedian on this.
Some dark humor.
Real dark humor.
Very dark humor. In the podcast, NFL podcast I listen to all the time religiously around the NFL podcast. Been listening to it for probably as long as you guys have been doing it. It's just stellar work. Nothing is greater than listening to Mark just almost burst a gasket like as I'm driving. It's truly
that's it. I literally laugh out loud. Like rarely do people. I literally laugh out loud in the car when when you start over talking Mark.
He gets so mad.
Or they start playing something over him. He gets so aggravated, man.
It's too easy.
But
you guys are killing it. I've told you this, but I appreciate like your analysis. That's what's underrated. I learned stuff. You guys see the game really well, so that's why I'm listening to it, so I can steal your takes and sound smart.
I appreciate
Get some good takes.
We appreciate it. So Saints fans, enjoy the rest of the season. Don't take this shit too seriously. It's all fucking jokes and games at the end of the day. Enjoy football. Enjoy fucking life. Ryan's lining up another one right now. With that, we're going to get out of here. We're out.
Peace.
Denim is in demand at Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston. Get cash on the spot for everything denim. Bring in your trendy and classic styles of gently used name brand denim. Get paid for your denim shorts, skirts, jackets, jeans, and more. We're looking for denim that is blue, black, or a bold color, and jeans in styles like mom jeans, bootcut, baggy, flared, and ripped. We want everything denim. Sell your denim for cash at Plato's Closet today. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.